This podcast is powered by Echoes Media.
You're listening to Echoes of Jewish History. I'm your host, Jimmy Bitton.
Hey everyone, before we jump in, I need 60 seconds to share something that's been weighing on my heart lately. And I'm honestly proud to be partnering with them on this. If you've ever had to search for senior care in Canada, for a parent, for a spouse, someone you love, you know the gut punch. Endless Google tabs at 2 a.m., websites that haven't been updated since 2019, voicemails that never get returned while your loved one waits in a hospital hallway. I've spoken to people who have lived that experience as well. I'm sure you all know someone who has. That's why I'm so excited and relieved to tell you about CareNav. Launching January 2026, 100% free. One simple Canadian platform. Verified retirement homes and home care providers coast to coast. Real photos, honest family reviews, up-to-date availability. Direct connection, no middleman, no chaos. The CareNav team is giving my listeners first access the second it goes live. Takes literally 10 seconds. Go to carenav.com and drop your email. If you love someone who's aging, or if you're worried that that day is coming, do this for them and for your own peace of mind right now. carenav.com. That's carenav.com. Thank you to the people at CareNav for building this. I also have 2 thank you notes that I'd like to read out. I love when I receive emails from listeners. I've received so many messages on LinkedIn in the last week, and I do apologize for everybody who I did not respond to. I do respond to everybody, and I will, and I promise you that. This particular message came from Ido Singer. Ido writes, Jimmy, I've been following your work closely these last few months, and the clarity you bring to Jewish history and identity is remarkable. My own childhood in Israel, Gulf War, intifadas, narrowly avoiding 2 suicide bombings, left me with a deep appreciation for the way you thread past and present. Just wanted to say how meaningful your work has been, especially in a moment when so many are struggling to articulate their own story. Ido, thank you very much. That means the world to me. And really, you kind of touched on why I started this project of Echoes Media in the first place. For those who don't know, Echoes Media is the parent company. Echoes of Jewish History is a division of Echoes Media. So is Echoes Lab. I started this because I did want to do exactly that. I wanted to find a way to give people the ability to articulate our own story, to give them words, to give them voice, and of course, to be a fighter, to be on the front lines, at least in the digital war that we are fighting for our survival as a people in the region, not only in Israel, but also for Jews in the diaspora who are under assault. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to those who supported me through the link Buy Me a Coffee. The following people contributed very generously, and I want to extend a thank you to them. Virginia Yornit, Julia Baldi, Shirit Zik, and Dora, who's put a handler there at Faith Applied to Life on YouTube. So I want to thank you for your very generous support. Echoes Media on LinkedIn has just surpassed 1.6 million impressions in the last 90 days. Just 2 days prior, I was at 1.4 million impressions. We do offer partnership opportunities for people who would like to have their brand put in front of my audience. You can reach out to me, echoesmedia@icloud.com. That's echoesmedia@icloud.com, and ask for a partnership stack, and I will be in touch with you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the air move across your ears as I turn this page of Gemara. That little shiver that just ran down your spine, that is the most searched for sensation of the internet in 2025. They call it ASMR, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. But 2,000 years ago, the first YouTube whisper video, King David, already knew its name. He called it Dmama Daka, the thin silence. And he said it is where God lives. Today on Echoes of Jewish History, we're going to do something different, something no podcast has ever done. We're going to read the entire Jewish library, Tanakh, Talmud, the Zohar, Chassidut, Mussar, halakha, and modern neuroscience through the lens of that shiver on the back of your neck. Let's begin where every profound Jewish idea begins, with a single word in the Torah, Genesis 1:2. The earth was tohu vavohu, and the Ruach Elokim was merachefet. Bereishit, Aleph, Bet, hovering over the face of the waters. The famous Jewish-French biblical commentator Rashi quotes the Midrash. The Ruach Elokim was a soft, gentle wind, like a dove hovering over her young without quite touching them. The first sound the universe ever hears from God is not thunder. It is the sound of almost touch, the sound of wings brushing air so lightly that it produces a tingle. Fast forward, Eliyahu on the mountain, Elijah on the mountain, in Kings 19:12. Fire, no God. Earthquake, no God. Storm, no God. Then Kol Dmama Daka, a voice of thin silence. And the text says Eliyahu, Elijah, wrapped his face in his mantle. Why? Because the sensation was too intimate to bear in the open. Maimonides, the Jewish luminary, of all people, the great rationalist, describes the highest level of prophecy as hearing a voice that is Eino kol velo dibur, ela kmo kol betoch halev. Not a sound at all, but a tingling inside the heart. Now open the Zohar to Parashat Terumah 131a. The Holy One, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, blessed be He, speaks every day in a whisper. The Zohar uses the Aramaic word lechishu, exactly the same word modern Hebrew uses for ASMR whispering. The cosmic erotic relationship between God and the Jewish people is described in the language of mouth-to-ear intimacy. And then the Baal Shem Tov drops the bomb. He teaches that when a person does Hitbodedut, speaking to God alone in the forest, you must lower your voice until it becomes almost inaudible. Why? כשאתה מדבר בלחש, הנשמה מרטטת. When you speak in a whisper, the soul itself begins to vibrate. The Kotzer Rebbe goes further. He says the entire purpose of creation is to produce one perfect whisper between God and a human soul. Everything else, galaxies, mountains, history, is just the amplifier. Now let's bring in the science, because the Torah is not afraid of laboratories. Modern neuroimaging shows that ASMR activates the exact same brain regions that light up during maternal bonding, religious ecstasy, and deep meditation. The default mode network quiets. Oxytocin and endogenous opioids flood the system. The vagus nerve, called in Jewish sources Neshem HaChaim, the breath of life, is tonically stimulated by slow, rhythmic, bilateral sound. And here is where it becomes halachically fascinating. It is permitted to introduce this state deliberately, Rav Moshe Feinstein was asked in the 1970s about listening to recorded shiurim to fall asleep. He ruled it is not only permitted but praiseworthy, because Torah is the ultimate soothing maternal voice. Fast forward to 2024. I know from therapists in Jerusalem who now prescribe Rabbi Jacobson whispering Parashat Haman at 0.75 speed for religious women with PTSD. I know that yeshiva students who learn Gemara with one earpod on whisper mode because the soft sound of their own Rebbe's voice keeps them focused for hours. The question is no longer, is ASMR kosher? The question is, why did it take the secular world to remind us of a spiritual technology our tradition perfected 3 millennia ago? Let me leave you with one final text that will rewire your brain. Tehillim, the shortest complete psalm. David says, I have stilled and quieted my soul, like a weaned child upon its mother, like a weaned child is my soul with me. The Hebrew word gamul, weaned, is from the root meaning to ripen, to complete. A nursing child is frantic. A weaning child no longer needs. He simply rests in the presence of the mother's whisper, her breath, her heartbeat. That is the ultimate Jewish spiritual state. No ecstasy, no visions, just the tingle of knowing you are held. So the next time you feel that shiver from a whispered bracha, blessing, from the rustle of talit strings, from the soft voice of your Rebbe, remember, you are not consuming content. You are standing at Har Sinai, and God is whispering your name. If this episode gave you a single tingle of recognition, share it with somebody who needs to remember that the voice of Torah was always meant to be heard this close.
Hey, one last thing before you go. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do yourself and your loved ones a huge favor. Go to carenav.com. That's CareNav.com and get on the launch list. It's the free Canadian senior care platform I mentioned at the top. Launching this January, and it's honestly going to save so many families from the stress and chaos we all know too well. Takes 10 seconds, and you'll thank yourself later. carenav.com. All right, that's it for me. Take care of yourself and each other. Shalom.